Hi, welcome to a new game. This is another visual novel. I don't know if you guys like me playing visual novels, but there are a lot of cool free visual novels, and I feel like that's good for someone on a budget, and I am someone on a budget, so I guess this is good for me. This one is called Our Life, and apparently it is you and this green-haired fellow right here, and you are growing up together, and it says continue, but I've never played before, but I think that's just a button there, so I'm excited to play. I can't believe games like this are free. It's just so awesome. Welcome to Our Life Beginnings and Always. There are various ways you can customize and interact with the game. This tutorial is an overview of how certain features work. You can read the full tutorial from the main menu. To start off, the game is divided into 3 time periods called steps. Step 1, childhood, Step 2, adolescence, and Step 3, teenage. Our life is further divided into sets of vignettes that take place during specific periods of time. Those are called moments. Moments can be played in any order or skipped entirely. You can move on to the next step whenever you want by selecting the summary's ending. Steps 1 through 3 include 5 moments each, and even more can be unlocked by purchasing DLCs. Some are out now, and other DLCs will be released later on. Cool! I mean, I probably can't afford it, but thank you! A lot happens over the years that go by, especially in regard to the character you play as. You can determine nearly everything about the main character: name, appearance, personality, pronouns, interests, skills, their relationship with major characters, and so on. You can decide to change the details as time goes on, with a few exceptions. Your last name, skin tone, and eye color can't be altered once set. Much of the MC's basic traits are determined on a character creation screen. As the MC grows up, more options become available on that screen. As mentioned, one of the decisions you'll get to make for your character is selecting a name. You can type in any name you like, or you can pick a preset name. Preset options are called voiced names because the name will be voiced aloud by the romantic lead. You'll get to hear him say your name as you play through the story. Only the default name, Jamie, is included in the base game. Hundreds more can be added by getting a free voice name expansion DLC. There's a free one? The full collection of names is separated out as a DLC because of how large it is. If you're not interested in that feature, you don't need it. Oh, not really. I mean, it's just going to take up space on this computer. But that would be cool. Each name in DLC belongs to, or was selected by someone who supported this project. On the character creation screen, there's a cute doll you can decorate to get an idea of what your MC looks like with different traits put together. Not all the things about your MC. Okay. Unless you get the DLCs, the game has one love interest, Cove Holden. He grows up with the MC, and the interest comfort screen is crucial for determining how that plays out. Interest level sets how much you like him. There are 4 levels: disinterest, fond, crush, and love. Love is only available starting in Step 3, and if you're fond or crush in Step 2. Comfort determines how you generally react to think when it comes to him. There are 3 levels: nervous, relaxed, direct. Your level of interest and comfort will set the type of dynamic your character has with a love interest. What you did in the past will influence the present, and feelings can change over time. Oh, so this is so cool. You get to pick so many different things. There's so much. I actually don't want to read it all because I want to see what happens by the things that I pick. And tone is colored. I like that. Okay, let's just do it. Yee. Oh, we're so cute. Okay. I would say it's round. I'm very pale. I guess that looks okay. I would say I have just plain eyeballs. I just leave them to where they are. Give me the green. Yeah. First name is Jamie. Cool, that's fine. What does my hair look like? That's the question. There's so many options though, I love it. Oh, my hair has gotten longer recently. I would say it looks like that. My hair is brown. Okay. I thought I could. Ow! I guess I'll just put my my YouTube handle. I almost put my real last name. Ooh, don't want to dox myself. And I guess I'll do that because mainly I want the voiced name. So yeah.
Jamie.
Jamie. Oh. Okay. What's next? Birthmark. Oh, this is so cool. Scars. No, I don't have any scars on my face. I have a few freckles on my face, but they're like not on the nose. They're like on my cheeks, if that makes sense. They're like that, but like spread out. I don't have that many freckles. Hand size. I have tiny hands. Well, they're like a normal. I don't know. I've got hands. Anyone else have hands? I don't wear glasses. Yeah, I'd say that looks like me. Oh, you can do. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, I have freckles on my arms and my legs. Pants, dresses, shirts, skirts. I like pants. I like shirts. I like necklaces. I like bracelets. This is so cute. I love character creation. Okay, that's everything. Done. Summer in Sunset Bird was a special time of year. Your usually sleepy town began to bustle. It was a popular tourist destination, with people coming from all over to enjoy the beach, the weather, and the relaxation that came with both. The smell of the ocean, crisp and salty, hung in the air, bringing 3 whole months of schoolless vacation with it. During the summer, your moms didn't know that you didn't like you to wander too far outside of your neighborhood, so you knew the area pretty well. That included the people. Families came and went from Sunset Bird, but they mostly stayed and did what your mom called putting down roots. They built businesses, they got to know each other, and they definitely said hello to the nice young kids who waved when passing their stores. Going for a walk around town mostly meant that the familiar, friendly residents waved or asked you how your family was, or most often just said hello. You didn't really get why they always said hi. They saw you every day, but you nodded back at them anyway. You ended up saying hi to a lot of different people, since most of the tourists that came and went every summer were the same ones. You were too anxious to say hi to most of the other residents that greeted you, but they all knew you well enough to expect that. I guess for me personally, I just say hi to whoever says hi to me, so yeah. You enjoyed learning all about why they were visiting from and hoped to visit those places one day too. But today, there was a man sitting on the curb outside of your house. He was sitting with his head in his hands, his whole body slumped over, and you wondered if he was even a real person or a statue they had magically sprung up from the ground overnight. Whoever, or whatever he was, you had never seen him before. One thing about knowing everyone in Sunset Bird was that the people who didn't recognize really, really stood out. It was rare for tourists to venture into the residential district, as your mom called it. So for you, not knowing who a total stranger was set off a lot of red flags. Your moms had a talk with you and your big sister Lizzie about this kind of situation before. You hadn't exactly been listening to the time. They mentioned that some people aren't good to talk to, but other types of people can help you even if you don't know them. Yeah. You weren't sure about this man yet. Still, you felt a bit scared knowing that he was walking the way to your door, but you're pretty interested. Whether he was nice or not. I would be scared. You slowed down, your mind racing for ideas on how to get past him unseen, but it was too late to escape. There was a split second when your eyes met and you took in a shaky breath, your eyes darting to the sky, pretending to stare at a bird who was hovering nearby. Hey! His voice startled you and made you jump, but you still didn't look at him. The bird landed on top of a nearby gatepost, and its black feathers ruffled against the gentle breeze. Trying to keep your eyes on it was tough, especially when the man stood up and started to make his way towards you. Not wanting to seem too approachable, you folded your arms. Yeah. So, do you live around here? What's your name? You looked the man up and down, taking in his tan skin and relaxed appearance. At least his clothes were relaxed, the way his acting wasn't. He had sharks on his shorts and a stingray tattoo, and you wondered if he was obsessed with the ocean or something. While you made your assessment, he looked at you expectantly, waiting for you to answer his question. Yeah, I live here. Yeah, I live here. That's great. He looked happy to hear it, giving you a broad smile. $20! He reached into his pocket and pulled out a clean $20 bill, crinkled in his hand as he held it up to you. Even more confused, you looked back at him. Well, could you do me a favor? Nothing bad, sorry. Let me start over. I like your hair though, man. He cleared his throat and stood up straighter. From where you were standing, it just made him look creepier. I have a son. His name is Cove, who's about your age. Cove. That seems like a strange name for an actual living person to you. This guy was definitely obsessed with water. I thought that was pretty cool. He's definitely obsessed with water. He wasn't the only person like that in Sunset Bird. Who moved in across the street, see? He gestured toward the house that had been empty for a year, his watch catching the late afternoon sunlight and reflecting off the walls. The gigantic for sale sign was finally gone. You must be Jamie Hiatus, right? I met your moms earlier and they told me you were 8, just like him, so... He shook the $20 bill to bring it back to your attention, a hopeful smile tilting on his lips at the corners. Can you try to be friends with the boy? Just give it a chance and you can keep this. He's a good kid. You'll like him.
Do you mind?
But you've got to keep it a secret too, okay? It wouldn't be friendly to say his dad sent you. You are the man. You kind of felt sorry. I feel sorry for him. This definitely wasn't the normal way kids made friends. You knew that. What do you say? Want to make a deal? Yeah, I'll take it. Carefully plucked the bill from his outstretched hand, grinning at the thought of what you could do with that much cash. All the sweets you could ever want. You could buy a ticket for the newest movie. There's a cute stuffed animal. It costs a few dollars to set up a library card. Weren't even sure yet. What would I buy in real life? I would think about getting a library card, but that's something that my mom would buy for me. So I'd probably buy the stuffed animal. It was going to be able to go home with you. And that was just a start, you thought. The sky was the limit with that kind of amount. The man smiled at you, his eyes crinkling at the sides as he did. Great, that's great. I'll bring him by tomorrow. I want him to meet and greet with the neighbors today, but, well, I don't know where he's gotten off to. He laughed when he said that, but the way his face looked, you thought he actually wanted to cry. If you see him, can you tell him to come on home? He's got a pink cast and glasses. You can't miss it. Can I keep this out of the way? Sure thing. That definitely wasn't the normal way kids made friends. You knew that, but you were still going to help. The man smiled and reached out to pat you on the head, paused before doing so, then pulled his hand away instead. Your mom's already checking around for me. Such a thoughtful group you are. Now I better go look too. Can't put everyone else to work while I keep sitting here. I thought he might come back, and that's not what's important. I have to go. Thanks again, Jamie, so much. He jogged off down the street without another word. You decided to check the hills behind your house. Are we gonna find him? Let's be friends. I love the ambiance. Step 1, first sight. Oh, we're gonna meet each other. The chirping of the crickets in the tall grass greeted you, quiet and familiar. From the top of the hill you could see the ocean. As you walked, you listened to the crash of the waves on the shore and the seagulls squawking as they settled down for the night. You always loved the ocean. It was so much fun. You loved to hear the stories about the sea, about the merfolk and serpents you imagined living far beneath the waves. Yes, that's what I love more about the ocean, is the stories. Sometimes you could almost convince yourself you had seen the flash of a shiny mermaid's tail in the distance. You took a deep breath. You wanted to try to relax and couldn't. You weren't sure what, but something told you that you weren't alone, so you glanced around. Oh, I found him! There was a boy sitting at the top of one hill, almost completely hidden within the long grass and white flowers surrounding him. His head was buried in his knees, staring ahead by himself. For whatever reason, probably just that he wasn't paying attention, he hadn't noticed you yet. You watched him a minute longer, feeling a little bit like you'd found a deer in the wild, though deer didn't have sad frowns. But this new boy did. You wondered what could have upset him. After a few more seconds, you take a step forward, then another, and then he glanced your way. His aquamarine eyes reflected the light of the moon. You stopped, raising a hand to acknowledge him and show you weren't scary. Hey, Space Cadet. You lost? I'm gonna say, hey, Space Cadet. With a start, he jumped to his feet, his hands balling into fists at his sides. He didn't say anything, just stared at you in a strange way. He'd been crying. There were traces of tears on his cheeks and his knees, soaking the hem of his shorts, and his eyes were still shining with a few more. You'd obviously caught him off guard. His pink cast seemed to glow in the twilight, though when he caught you staring at it, he held his arm behind his back. Something the man earlier had said stuck out to you. Cove? Eyes wide, he studied you. How'd you know that? You touched the money in your pocket, feeling it crinkle beneath your fingertips. I'm all-knowing. That's a lie. Tell the truth. Okay, your dad told me who you were. Oh. So, is this your hill? He gestured with his uninjured arm to the patch of grass surrounding you, his face falling at the prospect. I can leave if it is. You can't own a hill. Why not? How could you? You just do. I had a hill back home. Well, this still isn't mine. Oh. He sat back down with a thump, resting his chin on his knees again. Curious about the strange new boy with the odd dad, you sat on the patch of grass next to him. The pure white flowers that covered this hill rocked back and forth gently as the stars twinkled above. The way they dotted the sky made them seem like flowers too. The night wind was cool as it traveled over the ocean and up the hill, chasing away the heat from the afternoon sun. Why are you here? A quiet hiccup escaped Cove as soon as you asked the question. Almost like they'd never stopped, his tears started up again with a vengeance. My parents, they don't want to live together with me anymore. The tears fell fast and heavy over his flushed cheeks, sticking in his dark lashes. My mom made my dad leave and he took me with him, and now we have a house here and I want to go home. The outburst took you off guard. By the time he was done wailing, Cove's chest was heaving with exhaustion. He sniffled and removed his glasses, wiping at his eyes with the back of his hand before putting them back on again. I hate this place. I want my real life back. I want my mom. Sorry, your dad seems kind of nice. You like it here. You just have to get used to it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. His hand slipped underneath his glasses and pressed his fingers against his eyelids. Cove wound himself up again for another long crying fit. You felt bad for him being forced to come here with no choice. You couldn't imagine what it would feel like to live with only one of your moms, but it must be pretty hard. But from way off in the distance, you hear your parents. Jamie!
Cove?
Kids, where'd you go? Cove looked at you, tears still clinging to his cheeks. Don't tell them we're here.
I don't go home.
Oh, poor little boy. You can handle it. You have to go. Don't worry so much. Sorry I have to. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. You were struck by a sudden need to reassure Cove. It's not gonna all be fun, but isn't he your family too? Yeah, I guess. Then you can count on him when you really, really need him. You shot him a grin and pushed yourself to your feet. Slowly, Cove stood up with you, still looking a little reluctant. His dad's voice rang out again. Cove, can you hear me? He looked toward the sound of his dad's voice, silent, then turned away while rubbing his not bandaged arm.
Sorry.
I still don't want to go. You called out yourself. You wait silently with him. I'll wait silently with him. Yeah, I get it. You do? Before you can answer it, you hear Cove's dad, even closer than before. There you are, bud. The trio of parents appeared over the curve of the hill. Instantly, all their eyes landed on you and they rushed over. Oh, are these my moms? Oh, they're so pretty! Hi, Mom! Oh, you guys are adorable. Both of your moms were at your side in a split second, faces filled with worry. Jamie, you're here after all. We had been at the park to check for Cove and then heard what had happened earlier when you met the new neighbor. I thought you might have gone off further away. No, you were just sitting in the grass. Why is everybody acting like this is such a big... We're okay, don't worry. Cove didn't want to go home just yet. No, we were just sitting in the grass. Thank God you're both fine. Were you two having fun out here? You look over at Cove, who was wiggling against his dad's tight hug and pushing his arms. Yes, I like him. He's good. I think I'm gonna marry him. Yes, I like him. You nod, smiling slightly. Finally letting go of his squirming, scowling son, Cove's dad turns to the three of you. Thanks very much for finding him. I really don't know about this neighborhood. Good thing Jamie knows this whole area so well. Absolutely. We should be getting home now. It's been a long day for us all. Say goodbye, Cove. Bye. Bye, Cove. The two of you walked up in the darkness, heading toward the neighborhood. You watched Cove's bright pink cast until it disappeared. Tell you what, we'll have a proper playdate tomorrow, okay? Your new friend's dad wanted to bring him by to see you and Lizzie. How does that sound? Sure, can I show him my stuff? Sounds like words. It sounds like words. Sure. Sound like words. I'm gonna be funny. I want to be the funny kid. The sounds overlapping in the warm, familiar chorus. Mommy put her hand around your shoulder and led you towards the path. Satisfied and with a little ready to go to bed after your long, exciting day, you followed them home. Choose your feelings for Cove. This is how you feel towards Cove for this step. You can change in later steps. Okay. Direct. And indifferent right now. No, I'm fond of him. I like him. But I'm gonna be direct with him. Yeah. We're just gonna be like, cool. Oh, we got an achievement. Childhood friendship. At the breakfast table next morning, you finished your food faster than usual. Your sister Lizzie had run out earlier to go play, but you stayed put. Today, just like your mom's promised, Cove was coming over to hang out. Excited to see your new friend again, Jamie? I like him. How sweet. I'm so happy he moved in.
Okay.
With that said, are you done with your breakfast? Yeah. I don't know, am I? You gestured down to the empty dish in front of you, raising your eyebrows dramatically.
Okay.
Good job. You should be here soon. Cleanup began, and then on cue there was a knock. It was hesitant, like the person wasn't sure they were in the right place. Still loud, though. We need to get a more obvious doorbell. I know. Jamie, could you get it? Wiggling out of your chair was really pushing it back. You made your way to the door. Hi, hiatus family. Thanks for having us. Mr. Holden, as your moms have called him, and his son were here. Cove looked different in the bright light of your living room, and when he wasn't crying. With his dad standing in front of him, and Mom and Mommy behind you, you and Cove looked at each other. Pleased to see your new friend again, you smiled at Cove. He smiled back with some hesitation. You twisted the thread bracelet. You twisted the crystal. Oh, I get to pick what kind it is. Okay. Thread, crystal, flower, shell. Probably crystal. Mom, we're gonna go play in my room. Your guest blinked but didn't protest. Okay.
Take care.
Let us know if you need anything, you two. Have fun, kids.
See you.
See you later, son. Play nice. You led him to your room, puffing out your chest a little bit at the sight of your treasures. There were lots of stuffed animals, a cool bed, and a window to look out. It was a great room. You hadn't had anyone to show it to in a while, but you were really proud of it. He leaned in a little closer at one of your drawings on the wall. I like this. Me too. I drew that. Thank you. I don't. I drew that. Cool. You smiled at him. You were proud of this particular piece of art, and you were glad he noticed it. You turned to look around the room a little more, studying the books on your desk and the pictures on the walls. You started to feel a bit nervous. You felt the atmosphere. You were glad for the company. I hope he likes my room. You put a lot of effort into making your room as nice as it was. You hoped he didn't say anything bad about it. Then his eyes landed on a tiny box of beach things you'd collected tucked away by your door. He took a step towards it before hesitating and pointing at it instead. What's that? A hoard of stuff I found on the beach.
Oh.
Do you have any driftwood in there? Dragging the box into the middle of the room, you and Cove flop down next to it. I do. Look! You gestured to a piece at the bottom, still covered with specks of sand.
Neat.
Neat. This is a good collection. You got the sense from his tone of voice that he wasn't just saying it to be nice, or to be like Shiloh. Who's Shiloh? He actually meant it. I forgot about Shiloh. Shiloh? He's friends with my older sister, and he's supposed to hang out here this afternoon. Do I have to see him? You don't have to do anything, but he's gonna be here. Anyway, I found this gigantic shell here stuck to an even bigger rock. You pulled out this huge shell. That's such the way kids talk. Explaining where you'd gotten each one and holding them up against the light. There were big ones, small ones, pink, purple, orange. Most of them you washed off in the bathroom sink when you brought them home, cleaning off the sand. Over the past few years, you'd even learned some of their scientific names. The collection was so huge and varied that you heard a lot of funny stories. Yeah. Apparently fascinated, either by the stories or by the shells themselves, Cove listened with what looked like the full force of his attention. Like when you almost got pinched by a hermit crab while searching for shells, and after watching him scuttle back into the ocean, you found another empty shell that was almost a twin to his home. It was a new experience to be the center of such dedicated focus. The Cove hadn't been mean to you, so you didn't mind. You smiled at him every now and then while showing him your collection. Kids, come down to the living room. You could tell the idea was making him unhappy, but Mommy wasn't giving you much of a chance staying around. Cove hadn't been like this meeting you. You guessed it was because he thinks you found each other by accident, not that a parent made it happen. Mr. Holden must have been right that telling Cove his dad was part of that would be a bad idea. Before you knew it, you'd both been escorted downstairs and deposited in the living room, ready for Shiloh's visit. The two of you sat side by side on the floor of your home's entryway. I brought the box of shells. I want to keep looking at them. Great. Bust it open. We can keep looking while we wait for Shiloh. Cove reached in and pulled out a big orange shell. Oh. Like he hadn't spoken aloud yet, he turned to you and held it up, his eyes shining. I think this one is the best of them. I like a different one best. That's my favorite too. You can take it. That's my favorite too. Cove smiled at you and you both admired the shell together. It was a giant conch with shades of dark and light orange. If you held it to your ear, you could practically hear the ocean. I found that one last summer when we went to the beach on a picnic. The two of you were still sitting on the floor looking through your collection of beach findings when the doorbell finally rang. Cove jumped, startled by the sound. Since the person had knocked, you figured it was probably Shiloh. He knew where to look for that. Lizzie's friend? You nodded, but that didn't seem to make Cove feel better. It was already obvious that Cove didn't hide his feelings well. You could tell what he was thinking right away. This isn't a good idea. He's just Shiloh, and where would he even go? He's at our only door, and if you go upstairs, he'll find you. Cove glanced around the room, his eyes wide, and finally paused with his gaze locked back onto the back of the house. I can go out the window. He was already walking towards it. Scrambling to think of something to say, you stepped forward, then paused. Do you want to break your other arm? Shiloh is the least scariest person alive. Cheer up, Shiloh's gonna like you. Please don't get hurt. I'll come with you. Good idea, let's go. Do you want to break your other arm? Even I don't jump out of any windows here, and this is my house. The distance from the first floor living room wasn't far, but you could tell it would make Cove nervous anyway. He touched the cast on his arm. I don't want to break any more bones. I didn't mean to click through that other thing. I think it was just whatever. I don't think anyone wants to. Yeah, but I don't want to see him. I don't know him. You teased him, you comforted him, you encouraged him. I'll encourage him. He's not bad, really. Shiloh's gonna be more scared of you than you are of him. Okay. Shiloh poked his head into the living room. It was impossible to know for sure if he'd heard what you'd been saying or not, but you guessed he had.
Hi.
Hi, Jamie. And hi, Cove. Cove shot you an uneasy glare. Hi. I'm Shiloh. It's nice to meet you. Yeah. You have a lot of freckles. Right. I do. What are you guys doing? We're looking at shells. Awesome. Can I do it too? Cove shrugged, then looked back at your box of beach findings. What about that one? The plan for the afternoon, at least as far as you were concerned, was to sit and look at the beach, think some more. You weren't really in the mood to do much of anything else, especially if Cove was having fun. This is a scallop shell I found last week. I kept it because it looks neat. It's a pretty color, kind of like my cast. The beautiful glittering pink did look a bit like the wrap around his arm. Pink is a nice color. Okay.
Oh?
Is it your favorite? Not really. What is? Maybe green. Or blue. Might be yellow. Oh, those are all cool.
I guess.
I guess. I like this color too. There are better colors. There are better colors. Says you. You poke your tongue out at Cove, trying not to laugh when he did the same thing in retaliation. Like usual, it didn't take long for Shiloh to get fidgety. Lizzie was his favorite. Without her and around, Shiloh didn't know what to do with himself. And Cove wasn't like your sister. He wasn't that much like you either. Is Lizzie coming back? Don't know. Aw. Where'd she go? I think she's at the beach. Probably. Is she playing at her park? Cove's eyes lit up at the mention of the park, and he looked towards you. There's a park? Yep, but it's old. Can you show me? I want to go. He started getting up before you had even answered, and Shiloh jumped up beside him in excitement. Really? You do too, right, Jamie? The park is fun. I don't really like parks. The park's pretty great, though. It's right at the beach, so there's lots of fun stuff to do, and lots of sand. It has a jungle gym and a bunch of swings. Sounds like it could be cool. So are we gonna go find Lindsay? I don't know. I never really wanted to see her, I just wanted to check the park out. Adrift without any direction, Shiloh finally turned to you. He perked up. Both boys wanted to go. It was only fair. After getting permission from your moms, the three of you were ready to head out. It was a short walk to the park. Lizzie had convinced your moms that it was so short, she should always be allowed to walk there by herself. When you found her, she was hanging on the jungle gym, swinging back and forth. Hey, Lizzie. Her face lit up when she saw you, her big brown eyes going wide. Jamie, Shiloh. Hi. She dropped to the ground and landed with a soft thud in the sand. In a split second, Shiloh had abandoned you two and scrambled over to stand by her. You were used to being left out when it was just the three of you, but now Cove was here. You wondered if he would leave too. Who's that? Oh, she's the doorbell. It's Cove. He's new.
Hi.
I remember. Hi, Cove. Welcome to my park. Nobody ever comes to play here, so this is where we get together. She gestures wildly with her arms as if to present the area to the newcomer. Without interrupting Lizzie's speech, Cove whispered in your ear, quiet enough that the others wouldn't overhear. I thought kids couldn't own places like parks or hills. Couldn't help but laugh a tiny bit. When Lizzie continued talking, you took the chance to kick off your shoes and wiggle your toes through the warm sand. Nice, huh? In this neighborhood, I'm the one who comes up with the ideas. You are? Yeah, I am. Who else could handle the job? Lizzie's the oldest. By a lot. My mom says you're Jamie's age. Yeah. Thought so. I'm still the only one in the group with double digits. What about the other kids? Other kids? There aren't any. We're the only kids here, and Shiloh is just visiting from another place. Not even tourists really bring their kids here. This is a land of ancients. Be careful that the oldies don't try to steal your youth. Oh. For a second, it looked like he might cry again. But something in his eyes shifted, and he looked back at Lizzie. What kind of old people? Like moms and dads or grandparents? Grandparents who don't have kids. They hate kids. Why? We haven't done anything. Only some of them don't like kids. Stop saying stuff like that. You're gonna upset him. Only some of them don't like kids. Hoping Lizzie wouldn't take things too far, Cove sniffled, his forehead creasing with worry. Lizzie was staring Cove down, but Cove wasn't even looking at her anymore. He didn't seem to care that she was there. He went into his own head. Shiloh was the next one to speak, completely unaware of the situation. I met Lizzie and Jamie in school. You'll see tons of kids there when summer's over. I don't want to go to a new school. I don't want summer to end. Shiloh looked down in the dirt. He hasn't had much luck striking up conversations with Cove. I like summer vacation a lot too. All the building tension in the air suddenly vanished when Lizzie laughed. At Shiloh's discomfort, at how weird she thought Cove was, at something else entirely. He didn't really know, but she laughed, face scrunching up. Welcome to Sunset Bird, Cove. Take a seat, put up your feet, and get used to it. You offered him a small smile that at least looked to reassure him some. For the rest of the summer, Cove was always there. You saw him more often than Shiloh, and on some days, when she was in a bad mood or busy, you even saw him more than Lizzie. He became a staple of your everyday life, the way the sun and lunch and the beach were. During your first summer together, you really liked Cove. He was a fun person to play with, and he seemed to like playing with you too. Of course, that was only the start of things. There's so many moments! Shopping. Come back before it gets dark, alright, sport? The familiar voice drifted across the street and drew your attention away from the snail you'd been watching and slowly across the pavement. I love watching snails. Cove waited in front of his dad, pushing his green hair back off his face from where the breeze was blowing in over his glasses. He looked to be paying only a mild amount of attention as he was being handed a few slips of green paper. It reminded you of when you first met Mr. Holden, although he'd probably not pay Cove to be friends with himself. Cove's dad seemed to feel your gaze somehow, or maybe you made a noise, because a second later his eyes were on you. He waved you over with a smile. He looked happy to see you, but you still felt a little weird for getting caught. You gotta learn how to be more sneaky. You brushed your hands together to free them of sand, then jogged over to join the two, smiling at Cove first, then his dad.
Jamie.
Hi. Good to see you again. What excitement are you up to today, Jamie? Stuff! Found a really cool snail across the road. He was slimy, with funny eyes, and a nice shell. Mr. Holden grinned at your enthusiasm. After he finished answering the question, Mr. Holden's attention returned to Cove, who was preoccupied with folding the bills he had into a tiny rectangle. Sounds fun. You know Cove was about to hit the stores by the beach. Why don't you go with him? He gave a ready nod, turning to squint in the direction of the stores like you could see the goods they had to offer you all the way from where you stood. Oh, is that okay?
Yeah.
I don't mind. Great, I'm sure you guys will have lots of fun. Mr. Holden reached into his pocket and pulled out a leather wallet filled with money. He found it odd since your moms only ever seem to have cards in theirs. Here. He leaned in to pass a crisp 10 to Cove, giving him a wink and a whisper. Get something for your friend, too. Sure.
Good kid.
That's my boy. Cove's dad ruffled his son's hair as he was straightening back up, the bill in his hand still held out towards the green-haired boy. Take care. Cove accepted the bill after a second and slipped it into his pocket. Then with one last nod to his dad, he returned and started walking. You followed after him, intrigued at the possibilities this outing might bring. Cove strayed toward the gentle tide creeping up the sand, and you fell into place beside him. It was a nice day. The sun was shining, and there weren't many clouds in the sky, though the wind coming off the ocean kept it from being too hot. You took a deep breath, enjoying the scent of salt and ocean air. When you looked at Cove, he was dragging his feet through the sand a little, and you slowed down to wait for him. His eyes searched the ground intently. You're looking for shells? Cove startled a little at the sound of your voice and mumbled sort of. If you see any, you can let me know. You couldn't manage that. You dropped your view to the sand, walking carefully so you didn't step on any. You were good at finding shells. You had a lot of them at home and always found new ones whenever you visited the beach. The comforting sounds of the waves filled the silence with pleasant white noise, and you played a little game with yourself as you walked along, getting as close to the water as possible without getting wet. It resulted in you having to run up the sand quickly with a wave rushed in a few more times, and although Cove threw a few glances your way, he didn't say a word. You didn't either. What did you want to go to the shops for? I need a new sand pill. Yeah, what happened to your old one? Cove narrowed his eyes, seeming to think deeply for a second.
Whoa.
It disappeared. What, really? Cove ducked his head down, lacing his fingers behind his back. It didn't seem like he was going to continue, so he nudged his arm. How did that happen? Well, Cove opened his mouth, then shut it again, considering. I took it to the beach one day. Uh-huh. When I got home, it wasn't anywhere. You left it there? Nope, it wasn't at the beach when I went back. Then you lost it! It disappeared. What about you? What do you do out here? I don't come to the beach a lot. I like swimming, I like looking at fish. I like to build sandcastles. Last summer, Leslie and I built one that was as tall as me. And sometimes they have a sandcastle building competition down by the boardwalk. Cool, I bet you could win. You smiled at Cove. Maybe the two of you would build one together one day. Once you reached the shopping area, the noise level grew exponentially. No longer just waves and footsteps, but the chatter of people enjoying the lovely summer day, the call of birds trying to find bits of food left behind, and lots of salespeople trying to get attention. You sniffed the air as you walked beside Cove. You could still smell the ocean, but there were other scents now too. Pizza, pretzels, hot donuts. It's not very nice. It's alright. There was a lot going on, but it beat staying at home and doing nothing all day. You were sure that you and Cove could find something to fill the day if you looked around a bit. Cove was glancing from one side of the street to the other with a look in his aquamarine eyes that you couldn't quite work out. What's that? Cove pointed to a large crowd of people gathered near a few tables with large, colorful umbrellas blooming from their middles. You couldn't see past the adults who were blocking the way, but you knew there must be something worth seeing. Without another word, the two of you hurried over to see what all the commotion was about. Feast your eyes on the amazing Alexander! In the center of the crowd, there was a man with a tall hat and a funny green coat that had 3 long tails. There was a little table next to him with a cloth hanging over it that read the amazing Alexander in glittery golden script. Why tell people his name if it's already on the sign? Cove hummed with understanding, then turned to walk away just as the amazing Alexander began shuffling a deck of cards. I want to see the show. Cove glanced back at the man, he then briefly lifted his arms up at his sides before returning them to place. Okay. He might not be impressed, but at least he didn't ditch you. You grinned, waiting for him to follow you as you raced back to stand in the crowd. With that, it began. The magic man pulled one card out of his deck, showing it to the curious onlookers. It was a 4 of diamonds. Watch closely! You did, squeezing through a few of the adult onlookers to get a better view. Suddenly, the man snapped his fingers and the card just disappeared. Whoa! The amazing Alexander, who had earned his title, turned his head and looked directly at you. He reached out with a kind smile. What's this behind your ear? Nothing? It was true, you didn't keep anything there. He smelled like popcorn and candy when he stepped closer, and you wrinkled your nose in confusion as you watched him. You felt a tug, and then you pulled the 4 of diamonds out from behind your ear. What? You knew that it couldn't really have come from your ear, but you still didn't get how he'd done it. There was a light applause from the crowd, and the man gave a deep bow. This is for you. The man plucked a pair of balloons from a clump of them tied down to his table. Both were in the shape of a dolphin instead of being a normal circle. And one for your friend too. Thank you for being my assistant. Wow. Now you're really grateful he chose you. After that, he went to see someone else in the crowd. Pick a card, any card. My uncle does that every time he visits. Not the balloons, the stuff with the cards. Cove spoke plainly while reaching over to take the dolphin that had been designated for him. Maybe it wasn't so special. Cove was just rooting for him. At least you had a fun time. I wonder if Cove's whole family was magic. If so, he was lucky. The crowd started to clear some, and you noticed to the side there was a whole rack of brightly covered kaleidoscopes on display. I'll pick up the kaleidoscope. Oh, Cove, check this out! You shift your balloon string to the other hand so you could bring the mysterious tunnel to your eye. A whole palette of colors appeared right in front of you, spinning into all kinds of different shapes as you twisted the end of the tube. Cove picked one up and looked through, twisting the tube at the end. After a second, he set it back on the rack, moving to the other side of the stall. He went under the awning, careful of his own floating dolphin, and you joined him. Are you having fun? He nodded, and you smiled back at him, happy to hear it. When Cove moves towards some stalls nearby, you followed beside him. Oh, look at him! When Cove looked at the sand pails, you were drawn to a table with colorful keychains laid out. They were sewn in the shapes of sea creatures, and there was a plaque that read "Handmade" standing proudly in front. There were a lot of different types. You saw a dolphin, a shark, a crab, a turtle. I love the crab! Your hand stopped at the crab, claws raised and a tiny smile on its face. It had big eyes and little legs, and the fabric was smooth when you picked it up. You'd seen a few crabs at the beach before, but they usually scuttled away before you got the chance to look at them closely. You liked the idea of having a crab all of your own, even if it was just a soft animal. You were instantly enamored. Checking the price though, your heart fell. $6. You didn't know much about money, but you thought that was a lot to spend on one thing. You rarely had more than a $5 bill to your name. But that changed the day you met Cove and his dad. You still had the $20 bill Mr. Holden gave you hidden away in your room. It was a grand sum of money, but you couldn't spend something that was at home instead of in your pocket. Maybe you'd have to ask your moms to bring you here again one day, now that you knew what you wanted. Is that what you want? Huh? Oh, it's $6. I didn't bring any money.
Alright.
It's fine. You don't have to. Cove didn't mind that. He took the keychain from your hand, and that was that. He was holding a small yellow bucket for himself, too. I was always going to get you something. I already got the money for it. You beamed, excited at the idea of displaying the keychain somewhere in your room. It was nice of Cove's dad to let Cove buy something for you too. You had to remember to thank him next time you saw him. After Cove paid, the two of you stepped out of the store side by side, your balloon dolphins knocking together and spiraling around in the air. You watched Cove hold up his new pail to his face, examining it thoroughly. Hey Cove? Yeah? Why is your dad always giving people money? Thanks for the keychain. Don't worry about it. Cove looked further down the street, where different food carts were lined up. He rested his null and cast arm over his stomach, and just as he did, you let yours out. Yours let out a light growl. You hadn't eaten since breakfast, and after all this wandering around, you were definitely ready for some lunch. Let's get some food. Yeah. You two wandered around a short while, looking at all the delicacies that were available. Everything looked delicious, and as the different smells, both sweet and salty, wafted over you, your stomach growled even louder. After passing up hot dogs, snow cones, ice cream, and pizza, you both agreed on pretzels. Cove got some sweet and cinnamon, and you... got a plain one. You licked your lips hungrily as the vendor handed you a pretzel over, ready to take a big bite. It added a little sprinkling of salt on it, and that was just how you liked it. Though the little cup of icing Cove got with his did look delicious. You found an empty table close enough to the beach that the grit of the sand made terrible noises when you dragged the chairs to sit down. These balloons are going to make it hard to eat. Cove placed his bucket on the table as he stared. Oh my gosh, it's getting late, I can't read. As he stared at his still balled up hand that was wrapped around the string. You opened your mouth to agree, but an idea hit you. I know. After carefully placing your pretzel down where it wouldn't get sandy, you tugged the balloon dolphin and tied a delicate bow around his wrist. Oh! Cove bounced his arm up and down in place, testing the ability of the knot. After you watched his balloon jostle around but remained attached, he smiled satisfied. There, now do mine. He repeated the ritual.
Okay.
Got it. Two of you spent a moment admiring your handiwork, both hands now free to allow for easy munching on your pretzels. You bit into the doughy treat, savoring the taste on your tongue with a smile as you looked out over the ocean. After a time you finished your pretzel, you were done before Cove. It was boring not having anything to do. You pulled on the string of your balloon to bring it down to your level. Then you held the dolphin in your hands, manipulating it to look like it was jumping through the air. If you turned to face towards the beach, it almost looked like it was swimming in the waves like a real dolphin. A laugh came from your side. When you glanced back at Cove, he had left the remaining parts of his pretzel in the wrapper and was gripping his dolphin too. Mine's name is Merryweather, and he's the Prince of Dolphins. He wears a crown made of seaweed, and all his friends are merfolk. Every now and then, he'll make friends with a kid and let them ride on his back. You sighed, wishing you could meet a real dolphin like Merryweather. What's yours? Cove considered this question, placing the balloon against the table and resting his free arm across it in contemplation. With a loud pop, the dolphin exploded into ribbons. Oh no! Oh no! For a second, all Cove did was gape in shock like you. Then his cheeks puffed up, squinting his eyes, and you saw tears start to glisten.
Jamie.
Oh! You made a joke. You offered to find Alexander. He would be alright. I'll make a joke. His name is Pop? That's a weird name for a dolphin. Cove glanced at you briefly, a frown on his face. I don't think it's a joke. It was still funny to you. His reaction was too good. Cove spent the rest of the outing sniffling and didn't say much else. Oh, I thought I was going to comfort him. The passing of Cove's balloon was the last major event of your adventure. In the end, the two of you headed back late that afternoon. You separated on the beach, and while Cove went straight home with his brand new sand pail in hand, you decided to sit for a while. You watched the waves and the sunset, fiddling with your new keychain. Another summer day was drawing to close. It had been a good one, except for the sad final note. Alright, and I think that's where I'm going to end this one. This one is probably going to be a lot longer than the other episodes of this visual novel I do, mainly because I was just super excited to get into this story, so I really wanted to read it. But this story seems really cute, and I'm really excited to get into it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I'm excited to see where the story takes us. I will see you next time. I hope you have a good day, good week, good life, good year. And I love you. Goodbye!